What's going on, D? How you?
And welcome, folks, to another edition of Steady Droppin Dimes. I was away last week. I think it's the last couple. Went on the Maxwell cruise, had a great time with the wife, stayed in the good graces. So feeling good about that. But I'm on the trip. I come back and I said, man, we about to go. I said, oh man, but that is the nature of Dimes. We're gonna have hosts come in and move on to bigger and better things. And that's what our man Tyrone Wheatley.
Sam, let me. There's nothing bigger and better than dropping dimes. Let's just say I'm expanding my horizons.
Yes, sir.
Because at the end of the day, man, I'm gonna find my way back on to dropping dimes. I'm gonna find my way back.
Yeah, it is definitely been a great endeavor, to say the least. And we wanted to take some time to be able to share with the people this great news. So obviously you guys know the great Tyrone Wheatley. Somebody was ran into somebody the other day, was like, hey man, what's gonna happen when we don't drop it down? Say, listen, we gonna give you the full rundown as he comes on the show and talks about his next job. Of course, Daniel Horton. D, hey man. This basketball team, bro. Remember that conversation we had before the season?
Yep.
It seems like the consensus on this Michigan basketball team now, like everybody's saying they're the best team in the country. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Want to get your take on that as we get deeper into the show. But how you doing?
Doing good, man. Good to be back on, man. It's been a couple of weeks hiatus. I hope you enjoyed your cruise, man. It's always a good time to go recharge and spend time with the wife and come back with fresh eyes and a fresh mind. So it's good to see you, Sam.
Yeah, man. Likewise, glad to be back. It felt like something was missing. And this is one of the, obviously felt like a lot of somethings were missing. And this is one of the big things, as there's so much to talk about with Michigan basketball, with Michigan athletics in general. But we got to kick off this show like we do everyone, thanking our great presenting sponsor, Golden Limo. If you find yourself in need of ground transportation services, Golden Limo will get you there on time, every time, with whatever mode or level of transportation you need, whether it's an individual transport to the airport or game days, or when I say game days, it could be Pistons games, Red Wing games. Pretty soon the Tigers will be playing. Golden Limo can be your transportation source to get you there on time, every time, and pick you up. Of course, if you need bigger group transportation needs, something beyond the aviators and navigators they have in their fleet, of course, you can get into the sprinters. They even have a trolley there for a group, your party bus. Any of those needs can be met. And then there is the big luxury motor coach. If you find yourself in need of transportation like Michigan basketball or Michigan football, they all ride on Golden. And you can too, anywhere in Southeast Michigan, anywhere in the country. As a matter of fact, anywhere internationally, as Golden Limo extends their services through their travel partners abroad. So you can ride on Golden anywhere and be assured that you're going to get there on time, every time. Just go to goldenlimo.com. We'll tell you more about some of the great offerings from Golden Limo a little bit later on in the show. But let's jump right in, man. Moving on from Wayne State, and I'm curious about how the job sort of manifests when it came to Illinois. Was that something you have been looking at? Did they come to you out of the blue? How did it all go down?
Well, to be honest with you, Sam, the Wayne State job really was, I would just say, incredible. Shout out to Erica Wallace, the AD there, for giving me that opportunity and chance. Just things wasn't going well for me there. But I was when I resigned, man, I was just taking time. I was just taking time and not really looking for anything. And I think a lot of people say, when you're not looking, that's when it finds you, right? Man, I got a call. Well, no, I got a text message. I received a text message from the chief of staff. And then once I got the text message, I hit Coach B up, and he and I, got to talk a little bit. He was like, let's get you down here for an interview. Went down for the interview, talked to the guys, love the staff, love the culture of the guys building. I mean, it's a wonder. I mean, it's no wonder why the man is successful. I mean, he's got that place rocking, man. When you walk in the building, you always can tell the atmosphere. And when you walk in that building, you can tell the atmosphere. You can tell the culture of the people that's walking around, the young man that's in that building. It was really good. I really liked it. It was a great fit for me, and obviously I was a fit for him. And offered me the job, and I accepted it.
Yeah, man. On the other side of the Big Ten aisle, this is a little bit different. Hey, so did you play against Simeon Rice and Kevin Hardy?
Man, did I play against man, let me just tell you something. Them so it was so everybody forgets about Dana Howard. Right? Everybody forget about Dana Howard now.
Yeah.
He was the clog. He was the Ray Lewis of that defense. Okay. Now Simeon was the freak, Hardy, well, all them cats, man, but that defense was probably the best defense in college football during that era. They were magnificent, man. They were incredible. So yeah, I played against them cats.
You heard from any of those guys since you took the job?
No, I have not. Have not ran into him, but it'll be interesting to see him.
Yeah, man. So Weed isn't a lie now. Now, hey, my man Corey coaches over there. Corey Parker coaches over there as well. So I've had a rooting interest from afar. Now I have even more of one. So 2 Michigan guys coaching at State of Michigan guys. Anyway, when you talk about Corey coaching over at Illinois, I can't necessarily look at Brett Bielema as a total enemy anymore if he's employing a couple of my guys. So, I guess we got to lay down arms just a little bit.
Just a little bit, man. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But hey, man, had you had any familiarity with Brett Bielema before this? That's interesting. You say he's had his eye on you, sounds like.
Well, I guess, coaches anybody, right? Anybody in this industry that coaches, especially if you're a head coach, it's so transient now, right? I mean, he lost about 6 or 7 coaches that he had to replace. And not only are the young people, I guess, hitting the portal, the coaches hit the portal as well, right? Some guys are, going up, becoming coordinators, so on and so forth. So there are guys that are now just being plucked in, just each from people's rosters, man. So as coaches, so he just kind of said, hey, listen, I was always on his list, his short list of guys that if he ever needed a coach, I was on his short list. And it always feels good to be on, somebody's short list, man.
Sure. Yeah, that's what's up, man. Okay.
Means I'm doing something right.
Right. And I know, I mean, maybe people out there don't know, but I know Corey, man. So you getting on the staff with somebody that you're already familiar with. That has to be. So
Corey, when he was the head coach over at River Rouge, I recruited, of course, when I was at Morgan State, and even before that, I would stop by Corey and recruit him and recruit the high school. Corey, let me just tell you, Corey is probably one of the most diligent high school head coaches that I've ever met. Truly about the young men, the kids that he coached. And not only did he turn River Rouge football around, he also had a huge factor in the culture of not just the football, but in that building. How the school did things. He was a real huge factor in that as well. So I think a lot of times we just look at these guys as football coaches, but no, he was a huge factor in how that school operated, how they looked. And I used to tell him all the time, hey, man, keep them dang on buses out of the city of Inkster. Leave my Inkster kids alone, man. So, but no, Corey is a great guy, man. And we collaborated on a lot of things. On how he recruited the state of Michigan and in the spring evaluation period. We collaborated on those things and how to get that going. So yeah, Corey is a great guy.
It's gonna be real interesting, man. I talk to people who coach different places, and they wind up being on the other side of Michigan. It's it's a little different. Like, wow, you got to adjust to it a little bit, right? When you wind up in that situation, whether you played for Michigan or coached for Michigan, when you're on the other sideline, it's a bit of a joke. Like that's the Sadie Washington at Michigan State right now. It's like,
Man, that's until Friday comes.
Huh?
That's until the Friday check cleared.
Yeah, until the check.
That's all I'm worried about.
Yeah. So we, from the perspective of guys here locally, I imagine you're gonna be recruiting the state of Michigan. Have you thought that, or have they talked that far ahead with you?
No, we haven't got that far ahead. And you know what? Corey recruits the state of Michigan, and he's doing a great job, right? And so, you know me, man, I'm good in every hood. So put me anywhere. I don't really care. Just like I said, once again, man, I would love to, but Corey is doing a real fascinating job and doing an incredible job in the state of Michigan. If they want to add me here, great. If not, I understand. This is what he's been doing. If it's not broke, why fix it, right? But for me, I get in wherever I go, man.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of guys that I know Michigan fans, to your point, would be familiar with. So Nico Collins is a Tyrone Wheatley guy.
Yeah.
As was Karan Higdon.
Yeah.
Another one, 1,000-yard rusher at Michigan. So those are the two that jumped out off the top of my head that I know you went in and got done.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like I say, it doesn't make a difference, man. Whether it's Mississippi, Alabama, California, New Mexico, Texas.
There you go. I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I mean, Texas. Yeah. You know that.
I was waiting for it.
I go from Waco to Texarkana. Wherever it is, man. And so, I go deep, man. I run deep in these United States of America.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, man, the portal is at a different level, and NIL is at a much different level now compared to, obviously being an assistant and then a head coach at Morgan State and Wayne State. It gets a lot thicker, on the streets when it comes to NIL and guys wanting to jump in the portal. So have you thought about what that adjustment is going to be like?
It really, at the end of the day, so I've always said this. It's similar to NFL, in the sense that, but you're dealing truly with parents, right? And like I could just tell, like when I used to deal with free agents, man, the money, it is what it is. But here's the one thing you got to understand as a free agent. And this is what these young men have to think about. Okay, all money ain't good money, right? And then a lot of people say, what do you mean by that? Okay, you can take, let me just use a flat $100,000. You could take this $100,000 here, but you can sit on a bench and you will not play, right? Or you won't get developed in the way that you should get developed. But you got your $100K, right? Come here, you take 90 or 85. You get developed, you do the things you need to do, and that bigger payday might come next year. Mm-hmm. But you take that $100K, that next payday doesn't come at all. And how many times have we seen that? A lot. We see it a lot. So, but at the end of the day, you have to be, you have to have some empathy, right? Not sympathy, right? Some empathy, some understanding, and just trying to help these young men go where they need to go and try and paint a picture of trajectory for them. But at the end of the day, I really don't handle the money. Mm-hmm. Like I tell them, the money, it is what it is. I can't get you more. I can't go to, like when I was in the NFL, we used to sign free agents. Free agents would come in. This is where I'm at. This is what I want. I said, okay. And I would tell those guys, you can go someplace else. You get that money, brother, but you're sitting on the bench. This will be your last contract. And it's happened to a lot of those guys, right?
Yeah, man. It's funny to see how the way coaches talk to and about guys has changed. They don't talk about guys like, hey, my kids. Nah, man, this This a grown man taking a check. Like if you listen to Jerome Tang's press conference before he got fired, I don't know if did you see it, Wheat?
No, I did not.
Oh man. And they fired him for it. I'm curious. I want to get your take on that too, Daniel. But he got in the press conference. I can't remember who it was they played when they lost. He said, hey, this is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for the students, for the university. Some of these dudes don't deserve to be on this roster. Ain't good enough. Don't work hard enough. Don't take instruction. And he was like, when we gonna change that? Some of these dudes not gonna be here next year because they're not up to the standard that we have in Kansas State. I'm watching, and that it feels like that's something that you never would have heard a coach say in a press. Like coaches go after their teams all the time, but this was on a different level. Now they wound up firing him, and they say they're trying to do it for cause. They're not going to be able to get that across. I mean, he says things in the press conference. You can't. You got to pay the man his money. But man, you talk about going completely the pro route. These are not college kids. Yeah, that was certainly at least the vibe I took off of Jerome Tang there, Daniel. I don't know what you thought.
I thought it was it just shows the difference in standing and stature and your current position at your school, right? If they were 2-11, if they were 11-2 in the Big 12 instead of 2-11 for the second year in a row, another bad year in the Big 12, those comments go over differently, right? And it also just shows a contract. Like I said, we always talk about Mick Cronin. Mick Cronin made very similar comments last year, right? He's complaining about a lot of stuff. But when you're a made man in this sport, you can say certain things and get away with it. He's able to say things and get away with it. Jerome Tang, he doesn't have quite the credibility. I won't say credibility because a lot of people in this sport love it and swear by Jerome Tang. But he doesn't have Mick Cronin. It just shows Mick Cronin's a made man in this sport. So when y'all say certain things about him complaining, about him getting away with going off and talking to reporters, he's in the coaching community. He's built up that cachet, and Jerome Tang has it. So you say certain things, especially while you're holding up the bottom end of the conference, it might not end well for you.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Mick Cronin. Look, hard coaching is all I ever knew as a player coming up in elementary, high school, middle school, high school, all the way through. Seemed like coaches struck that same chord. All of them were really higher edge. This is, I guess, what I see Mick Cronin do. And I know Daniel, he always gets on me about it, but it ain't that he's on his guys. It's that he is on his guys like he didn't recruit them. Like he didn't recruit them and he ain't coaching them.
Same thing with Coach Tang, right? You recruited these guys at Kansas State.
Yeah, man. You recruited these dudes. They don't play hard enough. They aren't good enough. I mean, you got direct control of that.
Yep.
I mean, it'd be different if you inherited the whole squad and it was like that. Well, but year after year, you hate your team, Mick Cronin. What the hell, man?
Well, there's a difference. I think.
I guess I would say the onus has to be, I got to get the most out of these guys, and I got to do a better job of building my roster. I think that's the way to do it.
It is. But here's a great thing, and the only way we can really kind of draw. I know it's football and basketball, but talk about Indiana. You can go out and get the young men, and you're right. He's responsible for recruiting that class, right? He's responsible for recruiting those guys, and those are quote unquote his guys. But I think one of the big things when you're recruiting now in this portal and you're bringing these young men in, character.
Yeah.
Character. And this is where we go back to Dusty, right? We have to understand that it's not always about the numbers that these guys are putting up. It's the fit and what the fit looks like and how do you fit in our culture and where are you going? And so a lot of these dudes, man, they might be the best athletes in the world and they might have all the potential, but you'll chase that potential off the bridge and it'll kill everybody. It will kill everybody. But a lot of times sometimes in the press, we'll look at us and say, well, why would he take that guy? He isn't the best athlete. He isn't this. He isn't that. He may not be a pro. But these coaches nowadays that are understanding how to build these rosters are going, just like I said, it's going back to the NFL model.
Yep.
I can say this: Jalen Ramsey is an incredible talented guy, but he's not a great guy in that freaking locker room. So that's why a lot of teams didn't take him, because you're not going to mess our fit up, right? You are not going to mess our fit up. And so what's happening is coaches got to readjust how they recruit. And sometimes you might look at this dime piece of a player, but I don't know how much trouble I'm gonna get, but it's always a reason why that young lady, as cute as she is, it's a reason why she walking them streets. It's a reason why she by herself. And I'm gonna flip it. Young women, it's the reason why that dude may be as handsome as he could be. Voice like, you know what I'm saying? But it's the reason why he's by himself. Mm-hmm. So we have to look past those numbers and all the other stuff. And is there a true fit? Because here's the deal. Be honest, Sam. Be honest with me. These young men are getting this money. They got it. So a lot of times when you come in, I get it. I call it the meat and the teeth syndrome. They always sucking their teeth. Man, why we got to run? Man, why we got to do this? Yeah. Running is part of the damn, this is what you do. You run. Why we got to get up 6 o'clock in the morning? Why we can't get up at 12? And they cry and they complain. But when you say you have control over that, Sam, you're in the nature now. You're in the business now where the tag words, coach is a bully, coach is this, coach is that. And you nowadays as a coach, like you talked about being coach hard, I don't call it coaching hard. I call it just being coached. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. Nowadays, you can't coach certain people, right? You just can't coach them. And what did they always say, boy? Birds of a feather flock together. So if I get one feather ruffle, all them feathers, they're going to flock together. And they'll get you out of there.
Yeah.
I
think so many great points and so much great perspective from you, Wheat, as a coach and as a former player. I guess I don't take issue with public accountability. Coaches, not even calling them out, just highlighting, telling the truth.
Yes.
About what happened. I mean, especially in this day and age where, to your point, guys collecting checks, they want to be treated like pros until they get treated like pros. Like, treat me like a pro when you pay me, but don't treat me like a pro when it comes to talking about me in a press conference or that kind of thing. Right now, you can't have it both ways. The issue specifically with these two guys is accountability ain't a one-way street. Like, you play a role in the culture that's set. You play a role in the players that you put together. You play a role in determining how are they going to. I mean, you talk to coaches and parents and trainers. You're supposed to be able to get some idea about how they're going to fit into what you do, not just schematically, but personally and culturally. These are all part of the job now. So, yeah, you hear players complain about why I got to do this, why I got to do that. Then you hear coaches complaining about, hey, man, I can't get this player to do this and this player to do that, and they're spoiled and they taking all this money. Hey, man, that's the job now.
It is the job now. So, but like in certain places do a really, like I say, certain places do a really good job with player development, hiring folks that do that. But, you know, what my man say, mask off, right? Some of these young men, they go in with these masks and they take them off and they reveal who they really are. But you also have to have a locker room that's old enough and mature enough to handle some of those things that's going on, right? But if you don't have a locker room that's mature enough, you know, this is the win now, right? This is the win now era. I got to win now. And so they're taking these guys and I just said, and you said it right. It is the coach's job and it's the coach's responsibility to review these kids. But here's the next part about it though, Sam. These high school coaches, they're lying to these college coaches. Oh, he's a great kid. He's great. You should take him. Yeah. You know, then you call the other coach that who he played for. He ain't going to give you everything. He going to be like, well, you know, he a little bit. You got to deal with a little bit of something because he want him off his books. He want him gone because he don't want his program to look bad because that kid is sitting out there. So he going to feed you a little bit, right? So the mask is on until that mask is off. And you just have to do a really, really good job. And this is why it's important to hit this note. And maybe not so much in basketball, but you see it a little bit, but you have a lot of guys leveling up, you know, going from the max, going from the other conferences that are going up to the P4s because they do fit these systems. And these coaches have a system of doing so. But if you're out there and you just out there looking for the best player, man, that best player might not.
It's a lot of basketball schools out here signing ducks too, signing lemons too. You know what I mean? They go out there and they, especially, Michigan is an outlier because Dusty's been wildly successful with the transfers that he's brought in, right? But for the most part, you look at other schools around the country, man, they're not having anywhere near as much success as a school like Michigan or Illinois. Some of these top schools that are getting these transfers and still winning, they're still struggling. And now now some of them are in tough spots where, okay, we're going to have to keep doing this now because we haven't invested in the high school route. So now we don't have 4 or 5 guys or 6 guys in the nucleus of guys that we can continue to grow and build around on our roster. We can supplement. We got to go get 8 or 9 new guys again, right? And so you're in your position as a coach. You're hoping that your methods work. You hope that, like you said, when the mask comes off, these guys are who they say they are, and we can build a championship level team. That's why it's so amazing that Dusty's been able to do it 2 years in a row, right? And that's another reason why he won't be here long either, right? We've had this conversation before. Like I was watching something the other day. They listed the number one. They listed top coaching candidates to make the jump to the NBA, and Dusty was number one because he's able to take 12 new guys and build a roster and have them have chemistry, synergy, some cohesiveness to where they're the best team in the country after he has 8, 9, 10 new guys again, right? So that's, like you said, that's the pro model. That's free agency at the pro level, whether you're in Europe, the NBA, whatever. That's what it is. How many new guys can we get in here and still maintain our culture, still maintain our philosophy, still to maintain what we do and win at a high level? And with Dusty being able to do that, like he's I don't think he'll be here very long, so we better enjoy him while he's here.
Well, I think it's a matter of whether you prioritize. If you're Michigan, if you're Ward Manuel, you did a great job in his first year of realizing that Dusty has come in and exceeded expectations out the gate, and his alma mater is coming for him. So you gave him a contract extension before his first year was over because he was doing that well, and the competition for him was thicker. I think the same thing is true now, especially if they win a national championship. You got to step up and realize, like Dusty does when he's competing with the NBA for players. He said, I can beat the NBA. I can beat the NBA for a Yaxel Lindeboard.
Hold on, let me stop you right here, Sam. Before you get everybody in this chat hopes up and you get your own hopes up, if the NBA comes calling, Dusty May is gone. I don't know why. We need to get our minds around that. It is the show. Am I wrong, Coach? Nobody's turning down the show. If one of these teams come in and they got $100 million to spend in free agency and they got a top 5 draft pick and they got a young, promising roster, Dusty is gone, and he will be.
If Michigan said Dusty May, we're gonna make you the highest paid coach in college basketball.
He can get that in the NBA.
I understand that, but see, here's the thing:
it don't have to work as hard. Don't have to work as much.
The NBA is fickle. You could be in there right now and go on JB Bickerstaff the next year.
Yes,
you got to play up to your team is the top. Like, wait a minute.
Okay, so but Sam, let me just hit you this.
$80 million in 4 or 5 years.
Hey, Sam, let me ask you this, Sam. It's one of those deals where, like he said, it's the show. If you get a chance, you got to go. And if it doesn't work, you can always come back down.
Yeah,
but you don't get a lot of shots. You don't get a lot of shots. You do not get a lot of shots at that level.
Especially if you win a natty, Sam. If they win a natty this year, what are you coming back to Michigan for?
But you're bulletproof. You have the comfort of knowing that the security, the job security is finite. You're never getting moved out of that position unless you do something ridiculous off the court. And the NBA is gone. It's here today, gone tomorrow. What have you done for me lately? Now, that's not saying that he wouldn't be successful. I'm just saying that it's not like it's this. It is so much rosier, the possibility versus the certainty that you have in knowing that if you have established a national championship contender, winner, and then contender at Michigan, and they're gonna make you the highest paid coach in the now. If they don't want to do that, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But if Michigan steps up to the table and say, "Hey, we're gonna make you the highest paid coach in college basketball, right up there with the Caliparis and the Izzos of the world," hey man, I think that would get his attention.
What does that mean when the NBA can pay him the same amount of money and he can have a chance to win the ultimate prize, which is winning the Natty is great. Winning the Big Ten is awesome. We love that stuff, but there's still nothing like winning host that Larry O'Brien trophy.
Nothing.
So that's the same thing with Harbaugh. Like, as much as we love Harbaugh and wanted him to stay, any coach that has a dream of winning at the highest level, it's going to be hard to keep them away from the NFL or the NBA. It's just that simple. It's all of our dreams. Sam, right now, if the Pistons came to you and said, "Sam, we want to make you in charge of our radio and our all of our media stuff for the Pistons," and you traveling with the team and doing all this, you're gone. No matter how much you love Michigan.
Yeah, it depends on what the money looks like.
The money, but it's the NBA. It's the show. The money's gonna be there. We know the money's gonna be there.
See, I think it would be worth having that discussion with that, because the difference with Jim was very forthright with people behind the scene. Maybe not as much with the public at large, but he was telling them, "Hey, look, if they double my salary," he had a very clear standard. If I can go to the NFL and they double my salary, and essentially give him control, which they did, because Jim basically hired the GM in with the Chargers. So it wasn't like he was just going to jump to the NFL on the first thing smoking on whatever job they offered him. It was like, no, twice the money at least and full control of my destiny. Now Michigan can't beat that, but that's what it took. Are they gonna come at Dusty? I wonder if he has a similar bar for a team to meet. And he didn't go to he went to a squad where he had like a squad that was ready to win. I wonder if Dusty has all those same elements. You gotta not just pay me the same, you gotta overpay.
Well,
I gotta be able to have control. GM, hey, no, I need to have some.
He'll get that.
And by the way, I don't want to go and coach the bottom feeder. I want to go and coach the team that is cap strapped and don't have first round draft picks for the next couple of years. I think that Michigan has gotten to a point when you got a $12 million roster, you show you're gonna spend money, right? And competing for championships, investing in basketball. I don't think it's necessarily this thing where as soon as any team comes, he like, peace, I'm gone.
Not as soon as any team comes, but it's not going to be just any team. It's going to be a good team with some good young players. They're going to have some. It's going, like you said, it's going to be the right situation. They're going to have cap space. They'll have at least one first round draft pick. Like, it's going to happen eventually. Like, I'm just enjoying the ride while he's still here. He's already proven the things that you need to do to be able to get to be a really good pro coach. That's why people the success rate of college coaches to the pros hasn't been good. Well, it's a bit different now because of the roster turnover you deal with from year to year, right? Previously, you have got it like people mentioned Izzo and Coach K. Yeah, they had great players in their programs, but they were also in their programs 2, 3, and 4 years at a time as well. Right, that doesn't lend you as to prepare yourself to be a good college coach because you don't. The toughest thing about pro sports is roster turnover, in my opinion. Having played for signing different contracts from year to year, I can having coached as well, not knowing or having a different nucleus or a different roster every year. That's tough for you as a coach. It's much tougher than having guys in your program 2, 3, 4 years at a time. And Dusty's already proven. It seems like he's the master at it. Like he's mastered finding ways for guys to develop chemistry and synergy and cohesiveness in a very short period of time, right? That's what NBA training camp is. How can I get these 15 guys to develop some chemistry and synergy in 2 weeks, in 2 to 3 weeks before the first regular season game? That way we can continue to build on that as the season goes. So this dude, man, he's proven to be special with that. I'm extremely impressed. That's one of the hardest parts of coaching is getting guys to play together and play like each other while they're doing it.
And it highlights why if you're Michigan, you're proactive. Like, you're not waiting for the conversation to come to him. You're going at him ahead of it, ahead of what is so obvious to many is on the horizon, for the very reason that Mick Cronin is complaining about his team every year. Yeah. Like, you go out and recruit these guys from high school and other rosters and assemble them, and you hate your team every single year. Like, he always, these guys don't play hard. They're not tough. Can't make open shots. Like, dude, if that was 1 year, I would maybe cut you some slack. But he's like that every year. And you got coaches complaining like that. Here you have Dusty, first 2 years at Michigan. He picking up right where he left off at FAU. That is special, and you got to pay for special. That's how I see it.
Yeah, no, you gonna have to pay. That's for sure. You have to pay for sure.
Yeah, so we'll see. I didn't plan to go that route, but it's a worthwhile conversation.
One more thing. Mick Cronin is I keep telling you, he's a different breed than the rest of these coaches you name. And I'm not talking about coaching acumen. I'm talking about being a made man in the sport amongst other coaches and amongst the people. That's why he can talk like that. He coached under Bobby Huggins. He coached under Rick Pitino, and he's been under that Denny Crum coaching tree out there in the Louisville, Kentucky, northern Kentucky, southern Ohio. That area, he's a made man in the sport, so he can talk a certain way because he's been around. And that's also why he complains so much, because he coached under those really old school coaches, and he has a view of what it should be, and he doesn't see it. So that's part of the reason why he's like that as well. But these newer coaches, man, it's different.
I'm laughing at this comment. It's Drew Collins said, I was trying to figure out a way how Horton was going to be a killjoy.
Hey, Drew Collins, you could kiss. Never mind. Let me stop playing. I could talk to him like that.
Oh, man.
Listen. Hey, man, I ain't EJ Holland. I'm not whoever. I'm me. If you don't like it, there's plenty of other Michigan content to consume, baby.
We opinion based. Get your thoughts. Speak from the heart. That's how we get down. I'm a killjoy because I said Dusty's a hell of a coach that's gonna have major opportunities in the future. Boy, y'all goofy. Yeah, they don't want to see, and none of us want to see Dusty go. And it may be the case where the NBA comes and it's too good of an opportunity to turn down. But it's Michigan's job to make that decision be as hard as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't concede if you're sitting in Ward Manuel's chair. You don't sit there and say, hey, if they come, he's gone. No, man. You step up and you say he is going to be in the upper tier, that top 2 or 3 coaches in the sport. Because if he wins this title, Izzo's days are over. He's not the top coach in the Big Ten anymore. If Dusty wins this year, he's the one. Yeah. He's the guy. He will have matched Tom Izzo in championships. He will have been to his second Final Four.
Yep.
He came in and took the number 1 player in the state from Flint, his first year on the job. Izzo was crying about that. Can't even keep the guys that he thinks he's supposed to keep. And now he's going up in his house and serving him, winning the Big Ten title his first year. He gets the national title. This is Dusty's conference. You pay for that.
You win the national championship, the whole thing, you on top of the world, period. Not just the Big Ten. Shoot.
That's what I'm saying. You go, what about Matt Payne? I love Payne. Payne's never won a championship.
Nope.
Dusty wins the championship. He's the one in the Big Ten. And so you make it a point to say, this is not like when Clemson came for Eric Bakich and everyone said, the baseball coach, and everyone said, he's got to go there. Mm-hmm. Michigan is not going to pay ACC or SEC money for a baseball coach, which was, I loved Eric Bakich. Man, I went to the College World Series to watch Michigan baseball. It was unbelievable. He took Michigan to a World Series, and they just were not going to match the salary of an SEC team or ACC team because the finances of baseball and the Big Ten are not the same. Okay, I had to be told that because I was speaking more from the heart. Like, you can't let him go. And then I had my man Ira Weintraub and the MGO Blog Roundtable guys and all of them's like, no, Michigan is not going to pay the baseball coach like an SEC. You can't do that. Okay, I'll accept that. Fine, but the basketball coach, nah, bro.
Hold on. Stop there. I'm sorry to cut you off, but is Michigan going to pay the basketball coach exponentially more than the football coach?
If the basketball coach at Michigan wins the national championship and is coveted by the NBA, does that mean he gets paid more than Kyle Whittingham? What is Kyle Whittingham's salary? But he got championship. He just won a championship.
But wait, it won't just be more than Kyle Whittingham. To make him the highest paid college coach, it'll be almost double. It'll probably be almost double Kyle Whittingham.
No, because
it wouldn't be double.
What's the highest paid? Who's the highest paid coach in college basketball now?
What does Izzo make?
We gotta do some.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It's 8 point. If it's 8.2 for Whit, it won't be double. You're right. I thought he was making more closer to what Sharon was making. But if it's 8.2, then yeah, it won't be. It'll be close. It'll be around that. It'll be $8-9 million. You think they'll do that?
Let's go. The man.
I hope so.
He will have taken Michigan basketball to remember. I love Juwan, but bro, I mean the program. I mean, it was in a bad spot.
Right.
It was in a bad spot, man. It's not like he stepped into a roster that was already set. Like, here's at least with Kyle Whittingham, he's stepping into a roster that's really ready to compete. Now you got to get some things, so you got to get your scheme in and everything. But he's inheriting a really, really good roster.
Cubs wasn't there.
That ain't Dusty. Dusty didn't inherit no really good roster.
No, he didn't.
He had to put this together, and he did it. And he didn't just do it that first year. He did it even better the second year. No, man, you can't convince me. There's nothing you can say to me that would justify Michigan not stepping to the forefront and saying, if the NBA is gonna leave, it ain't gonna be for money unless it's unless it's like Jim and they like, hey, we gonna double we gonna pay. They came and paid Jim $18 million. Yeah. Like, you gonna have to do something like he said, like Jim said, double my salary and I come. He was telling me,
you're not gonna get that as an NBA coach. Not you haven't won championships. You're not gonna get that type of money because the top coaches that have won NBA championships making around they're not making that type of money. But they said Bill Self is he's the highest paid college coach at $8.8 million. You think Michigan will pay him?
Hell yes. You got to do that. I don't want to hear it. You can't. If Dusty May wins the national championship, he should be right up there. Absolutely.
Steve said Steve Kerr making 17.5, so he won't get what Steve Kerr is getting. No. But what if he gets 13?
See, I don't think Michigan can do that.
I don't see them paying him 13.
Yeah, I don't think they pay him 13. If they're gonna pay him $13 million, it's gonna be
$12 million. Yeah, it's gonna be hard.
See you later. I mean, there is a number that Michigan can't pay, but
what did they give Coach B when he left? What did the Pistons get? Didn't he get like 5 years, $60 million or something like that? Didn't he get a $12 million deal?
Cavs.
Yeah, I'm saying Cavs. My bad.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was that he got. In retrospect, cautionary tale. but I'm just saying. But yeah, look.
Speaking of the DFW Pistons, we gotta talk about them next.
They're doing their thing. They served the Knicks some act right without Jalen Duren and beef stew last night.
Hey, you hear that, Coach? They not the Detroit Pistons no more. They the DFW Pistons.
I heard what you said.
I got you.
I heard what you said, but no. To finish this point, which I didn't plan to be on, but if it's 7.2 for Izzo, 8.2 for Bill Self, that's where Dusty May's got to be if he wins the national championship.
I can see them doing that.
And then now it's not the NBA coming and it's like, okay, automatically he might still go, But it ain't because Michigan ain't paying him like he's the best coach in the Big Ten, one of the top 2 or 3 coaches in the country.
Yeah, I can see them doing 7 or 8 million.
You got to exhaust all possibilities to keep him staying. You know what I'm saying? Keep him learning.
Yep.
I hope so. Keeping them fingers crossed, baby.
Hey, Drew said, I love you, Daniel. Loved you in Michigan. He said, he a fan, man. Don't hate on me because he hates your opinion. Hey, you can't get in. There's
only one way with me, man.
Take it personal when you're at the barbershop. This Daniel, did you play? We used to have this game in Flint, probably it's a Michigan thing, but we called it cutthroat. Couldn't call no fouls in cutthroat, Daniel. You calling a foul, man. We playing cutthroat, you calling a foul. You can't do that.
Cutthroat. No, I'm gonna do that fart in cutthroat. We gonna fight.
Hey, you can't call no fouls, man. No, but this is a great discussion, which turns the attention, understandably so, to Michigan basketball. We can come back to the Pistons at the very end. But I am unbelievably excited about this game. I fly out in the morning to D.C. for Michigan Duke. I remember us having the discussion before the season. How good are they? How good can it be? Even early in the season, it's like, man, is this the best team in the country? That was before they started running all over them teams out when they were out in Vegas, right? When they just bombed like teams by 30 and 40 every night. And then they went on a run until they sort of, I don't want to call it complacency, but you know, maybe it's just hard to maintain that level of intensity. And they had that scare with Penn State, and then Wisconsin came in and beat them. But Daniel, to beat them, they had to hit 15 threes in that game. Michigan had to not play very well, and they still only won by 3 in that contest. And after that, Michigan has gotten back on the winning track, winning every game, most recently over Purdue in Mackey. And what people who were there, I had my guy Alejandro Zuniga was there, Zach Shaw was there. I've been seeing a lot of the national pundits. They say it's the most raucous environment they've ever been in. And Michigan went and shook it off like it was nothing, Daniel. I mean, I'm starting to get that vibe like you ain't gonna beat this team unless they take their foot off the gas pedal.
Yeah, I agree with you. This team is right now they're rolling, right? And I didn't think Purdue would provide that much resistance other than the atmosphere and their physicality. If we didn't succumb to their physicality, I didn't think their perimeter is athletic enough and long enough to really give us problems. Those 3 guys are good players. Braden Smith is a really good player, probably in the conversation for Conference Player of the Year again. The lawyer kid and the other kid, the number 0, what's his last name? I can't think of his name. But those 3 guys, they're all good players, but they're not long enough and athletic enough to really bother, or talented enough to bother Michigan's perimeter and take advantage of Michigan's, I don't want to call them weaknesses anymore. Let's call them like something else, like fragilities, because they're not weaknesses. They're not weak enough in those areas for them to get beat, right? But I think there's something that teams are going to try to exploit in the future. And so I don't think Purdue is really strong enough in those areas to really challenge Michigan outside of making the game super physical and super ugly. And we handled that with ease. So I think that bodes well for us when we go to Illinois. I think that'll be a more skill-based game versus Illinois. It'll be physical as well because of the way they crash the glass and the way they play defensively, but it'll be a more skill-based game. I think that'll favor us, lending itself to us as well. I think this team can win many different styles of play, and they'll show that as the season finishes.
Yeah, man. It was a game where Yaks, there was a video going around. It was like he was joking with somebody, and the video got out there. He said, "We're gonna spank Purdue's ass." And, they were all up in a tizzy about it. And Alejandro said, "Man, they were trying to give it to Yaks in the pregame." And Yaks said after the game, "Man, I was feeling it. I was feeling it emotionally leading up to the game, and even before the game while we were there." He said, "But my teammates like, hey man, don't even worry about it. We got your back." And it's funny, I had said that to Dusty, kind of not even talking to any of the players. I said, I imagine there's going to be a lot of focus and spotlight and maybe even pressure on Yaks. But watching this team, Dusty, I just know they're going to have his back and it won't be an issue. And that's exactly what they said to him. And he said after the game, I was feeling it. They was like, we got your back. And that's what they did on the court. What did he have, like 13 points? It was Elliot Cadeau. Elliot Cadeau leading the way. And LJ Kason and old boy and Trey McKinney off the bench. That's one of the most impressive things about this team. It don't always have to be the same guy.
That boy better stop all that crying. But nah, seriously, but on a serious note, it's good when you know you got your teammates and your brothers, as they say these days, have your back, right? But it's amazing that he's even like going through that, because I hate to be the old guy, but back in our day, like we didn't have to deal with that. Like people saying stuff and did stuff, and you kind of pretended like you just it motivated you. But like nowadays, like that video comes out and it's all over social media, all over the sports shows for 2-3 days leading up to the game, to where this kid is like motivated or emotional about it and stuff like that. Like that's a crazy element that's been added to sport, to team sports, that we didn't have to deal with back when I played. I'm sure back when Coach played as well. Like, first of all, we said it to the dude on the other team. So it was like it was a little different, right? Now he said it to saying it gets everywhere. So now it's like the fact that he's feeling that way after the game is what kind of stood out to me, like the emotional part of it. Like, man, like how could you get any more motivation to play at Purdue, right? But Dusty kind of alluded to that, when the video came out, that hey, Braden Smith is a dog. He's a really good player. These guys at Purdue, they're warriors. They're not going to need any more motivation to play against Michigan. So that video is inconsequential. And I kind of feel the same way too. Like some games you don't like. No, it don't matter what was said. I hate you. I don't like you already. So like you saying that doesn't really do anything or add any more fuel to an already raging fire. So like, I don't know, man. It's just the fact that was even part of the conversation was pretty weird.
Yeah, man. I guess I didn't see it as a big deal.
Neither.
It was more, and Dusty said Yax was upset that kids heard him using, curse words and that kind of thing. It didn't hit me the same way. Like this whole didn't represent Michigan way. Okay, I get that there's an etiquette to it, but I also think there's an edge to this game.
So let me just hit you here. There is an etiquette, right? But at the same time, there's a culture. Mm-hmm. So if there's game day, if you're in the locker room, you anywhere near that field, there are going to be some things that's going to be said, right? There's going to be some things that's going to be said, and it's game day, right? It's game day, or you're in that locker room, you're in that environment. It is game day. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? So, like, I understand people talk about the etiquette and all this, but it's okay to say we're going to kick Purdue's ass. It's okay to say that. I'm going to say it again. It's okay to say that.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Because people talk about sportsmanship. Yeah, there is a point where you could cross the line, but it's okay to say, I'm going to whoop your ass. It's okay to say it. Because, truthfully, that's what you're here to do. That's what you're here to do. And for him to feel, like you say, all this other added stuff, man, listen, let that stuff. There's nothing like going into a stadium and people throwing marshmallows with batteries in them. Right?
That's crazy.
Oh.
That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, yeah. And so they go out, and Paint was talking about it after the game. He said, man, you go in the paint against this team, or this team, you let this team get downhill and let them use their size in the paint, you're losing. You're losing. And so we were going to help on anything going to the basket, except for when we're in a half court and we're defending Adai Mara. We're going to play him straight up. And he said, but we got caught in help, and these dudes was knocking down threes. If they knock down threes, what the hell you want me to do? What the hell you want me to do? And then he said, and Adai Mara was making play. Before he got in foul trouble, what took him out the game was the fouls. But he was giving it to Oscar. He was giving it to Clough when it was one-on-one. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, bro, when they're going like that, it's tough. And I think Purdue is the third or fourth best team in the league right now. They may not be there in the standings, but that's where I think they are. So that was impressive, Daniel, which leads us into this matchup with Duke, number 3 team in the country. I'm curious how you see this tail of the tape. How do you see this matchup?
Man, it's first of all, it's a bit intriguing to consider the time of year it is, right? It's smack dab in the middle of a conference championship race. You know, and they kind of step out of conference and have a heavyweight matchup versus Duke at a neutral site. So it's gonna be an NCAA. It's gonna have an NCAA tournament feel to it, and I think we're gonna win that game pretty easily as well. I think, you know, it's always a challenge to play Duke because they're gonna have 8 to 10 McDonald's All-Americans on their roster at any given time, right? So it's always gonna be a challenge when you play. They're always gonna be talented. They're always gonna be well coached. They're always gonna be disciplined. But I think with Michigan's size and their athleticism from the 3, 4, and 5 spots, that's NBA level size and athletic ability and talent between Mara, Morris Johnson, and Jackson Limborg. And the way that they allow you to defend people, they make up for so much on the perimeter, right? I'm not the biggest fan of our guards' ability to guard the ball, keep the ball in front on a consistent basis against good teams. They don't do it very well. But what allows us to continue to be a dominant defensive team is once they do get beat, man, you gotta get past 2 6'9" guys and a 7'3" guy, right? And they're all long. So that makes it, if Michigan continues to defend like they've defended over the last however many weeks, nobody's gonna beat us. And that's just how basketball goes. If they defend the way they defended the last couple of weeks, they'll beat Duke by double figures as well.
Yeah. Right? So Daniel say something positive and that get questioned. He said, "Gonna win easily versus Duke. Gonna win easily versus Duke." Here's what I'll say: it's several national pundits that are feeling the same way. Like, hey, I think it's going to be a close game, but I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan run them out of the gym. And I'm having a hard time getting on board with that just because it feels absurd to think that you can blow out the number 3 team in the country. But Michigan's had blowouts this year. I mean, that Purdue game wouldn't have been close if Adai doesn't get in foul trouble, which brings up to me one of the keys to the game. Like, Daniel, he's got to stay on the floor for it to be a comfortable game. If he stays, if Adai Mara, my match is like the max he's gonna play is like 28 minutes. Like, if he can play 25 to 28 minutes in this game, I think Michigan wins by double figures. You just don't know if he's gonna be able to stay on the floor.
Well, let me just
foul trouble.
No, so one of the biggest things that Daniel alluded to early in the season, right? What is one of his issues? Ticky-tack, reaching fouls, right? And you talked about Duke's, All-Americans, man. Duke is probably one of the teams that play open court basketball, to me, better than anybody. I mean, they come outside the offense and they allow these guys to go one-on-one. And if they can get this dude isolated, he's going to be in foul trouble early. He is. Because they're going to put him in a situation where he's going to have to lock up man-to-man and play ball.
Yeah, I know this. Their 2-point defense when Adai Mara is on the floor is like historic when he's on the floor. I mean, it's that imposing what they do to you when they got 3 guys 6'9" and above patrolling the paint inside the arc.
When they take him out and put Will Cheddar in, they're still really good defensively. They're still really good defensively. They're not like you said, they're not historic. There's a bit of a drop off, right? Because you don't have the 7'4" guy at the rim.
Yep.
But they're still really good defensively because they can switch so many matchups and still provide resistance. It's not like, okay, once we start switching, it's a jail. Like last year, remember they did a lot where they were doing a lot of the switching. At times it felt like a jailbreak. Like, man, this guy's wide open again. This guy, you don't see that as much. We've seen it a couple times this year, but for the most part, man, you don't see any of that. But that's as long as those 6'2", 6'9" guys on the floor, those 6'9" versatile guys, Johnson and Lindeborg on the floor, they're going to be really good defensively because they can guard multiple positions in one possession.
Yeah, they switch 1 4 pretty liberally because Marez and Yax was guarding all 5 positions. He spent a good amount of time on Braden Smith on Tuesday. So it's like, hey man, that dude, he's not just
he was guarding the point guard the game before.
Yeah.
Against Northwestern, little Reed, he was guarding the little Reed kid. Like, that's the beauty of having that guy on your team. He can guard, especially if this guy's not a major threat. Of course, we can slide. Yax can guard him.
Yeah, and so you got a dude who is boosting his stock, showing that lately he's been shooting a little bit better with threes, but really, his court vision, that kick out that he made to, I think it was the LJK side he kicked it out to. It was like a quick, they hit him in the middle and boom, like in one motion, he got the ball out to either LJ or Elliott for elbow 3, and it was wide open. It's like, man, this dude, he's seeing moves ahead, really, really boosting his stock, which gets us into the matchup. The number one matchup is, what do they do when the ball is in Cam Boozer's hands? I mean, he can shoot the 3, he can put it on the deck a little bit, he can play with his back to the basket, he can find others. He is not a great athlete, though, Daniel. So I'm curious, how much of a factor do you think that'll be against 3 guys that he has to potentially face off or square off against on Saturday?
For him, because he's not as athletic, but he is a moose. he's a big wide body, strong kid. So him not being as athletic as maybe Morez or Yaxel won't be a factor. He's just as skilled. He's just as talented at a younger age. He's better than those guys at a younger age. But as far as right now in this matchup tomorrow, he's just as good as anybody we have on the floor. So he's going to be a load to stop. And I'm curious to see what Dusty's game plan is. For me, I probably wouldn't overreact too much that I would, play him straight up with my 7, especially when they play him with his back to the basket. I'll probably play him straight up with my 7-4 guy, and then not give Duke opportunity, to find shooters and get open looks because we're overreacting to Boozer's play. He would have to go get 40 to beat us tomorrow. And that's just I'm not going to allow him to. I'm not going to overreact to him, and now everybody else is getting wide open shots as well, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have a focused game plan. Like, we're going to guard him and guard him tough, but we're not going to overreact to it, though.
Well, make him play some defense. Michigan State, he got in some foul trouble against Michigan State early and was able to play like the majority of the second half with that foul trouble because they couldn't take advantage of it. They didn't have guys who could test him and tax him when he was choosing to be conscientious about, hey, man, I can't get any fouls. Michigan has guys who could really press that advantage, and I think the onus is upon them. They got to attack him. Yax, I think, is going to have to be more aggressive in this game when that dude is on the other side of him. Yes. Post him with the other guys. Make that dude play some defense. Because I can remember who I was talking to about. It was like, man, his approach on the defensive side of the ball is to do just enough. Like, he ain't an all-out defender. Like, I'm gonna sell out on this end of the floor. You gotta make him pay for that, Daniel. You gotta make him pay.
For sure. And I've been advocating for Yaxel to be more aggressive on offense, no matter the matchup for the last 2 months. Like, I got this cool at 13, 14 points, 10, 12, 10, 11 rebounds, 4 or 5. Yeah, that's all cool. That's cute. But to get to where we want to get to, he's going to have to get 25 to 30 a couple nights. And tomorrow may be one of them for us to get out of there with a dub. If we want to make a run in the tournament, we play against teams that has a kid that's capable of doing that. He's going to have to match that. And Duke has a kid that's capable of going for 25 to 30 if he has a good night. So Yax is really the only guy that we have against elite competition against other NBA level players that can go out and that has the ability to go out and do that. So he's going to have to do that at some point, whether it's Saturday or during the last few games to take us home for the regular season title, Big Ten tournament, NCAA tournament. He's going to have a couple games where he's at that 25 to 30 point mark to get us home.
Yeah, I see. If they can get Adai off the floor, and if they can hit 12 threes, I'm saying 12 threes in the game is my number, not the 15 that Wisconsin hit. Can they hit 12 threes in this game? I don't think, even if they do something against Adai, I don't see these dudes hitting 12 threes. I think, you look at what Michigan was able to do to Purdue. They shot what? 39% from the field, around 30% from three or something like that. And Duke is not a 3-point shooting team. I think I was talking.
Why do you think they need to hit 12 threes if they get Adai off the floor?
I think
if Adai is off the floor, now we can attack the rim more, right?
But the volume ain't gonna be enough. You aren't gonna be able to score enough points because Michigan is gonna get theirs on the other end. Like you gotta score.
Yeah, for sure.
You really gotta score. You gotta score at least in the 80s, and you ain't gonna do that. You're not gonna do that. Feasting on 2-point buckets.
No. What I'm saying to you is, if they have been able to get Mara off the floor by attacking him, right, getting him in foul trouble, or just the pace too much and he has to come out the game, whatever it is, if they've done that, we're still a good defensive team, but the rim isn't as protected so you wouldn't want to shoot as many threes if he's not on the floor. Now, I think if he's on the floor in drop coverage and now we attack that coverage and force them into rotations, then we'll get those opportunities to get 12 threes if Mara is on the floor, is how I look at it. But go ahead.
Well, see, he's not in drop as much. He's hedging ball screens more. I think even a time or two they even switched with. I mean, it's like rare. You aren't gonna switch with Adai, but to see them even do it one time was like, wow. Yeah. they have really kind of gotten comfortable with where they are, with where he is defensively. But Purdue got Adai off the floor. They got him off the floor. They could hit enough threes. Yaba's got to do both because Michigan is going to score. They're going to score. No, so if you are lighting it up, because they asked Yax after the game, what's your weakness? So you got to do to beat this. Man, I don't know. You got to shoot like Wisconsin did, and he's right.
Mm-hmm.
You better be on one from three if you're gonna beat this team. If they shoot, what is it? I think Tim said they're averaging like making 9 threes a game. If they hit 9 threes, if they hit their average in this game, they're losing. So that I gave you two numbers that I'm looking at. I want 25 to 28 minutes from Adai.
Mm-hmm.
If they keep him under that, Duke's chances go up. And if they hit fewer than 10 threes, they're losing this game. They're losing this game. They don't win hitting fewer than 10 threes. My number is 12. I say 12.
Say 12?
I say 12 threes, man. You got to be on one.
I'm interested to see I just think Morris is a really good defender. Yax is a really good individual defender as well. So maybe they just continue to give Boozer different looks, right? You can rotate all three of those guys on him throughout the course of a game. But I don't know, man. He's just a big, wide-bodied kid that may be a little bit – because you see what Kaufman Wren did, right, the last game. And that, to Dusty and Cruz credit, that's his first or really his second good. He's only had, out of the 4 times we've seen him play against a Dusty coach team, he's only had 2 good games. Mm-hmm. So I'll give them credit for that. But this kid is another wide, and he's a little bit more athletic than Kaufman Wren. So this is another big wide, and he's taller as well. Taller, more skilled as well. So this is another wide body kid that, we're gonna have to. I'm curious to see what their game plan is gonna be to guard him. That's gonna be a telling thing early in the game. We'll see what they're doing against him.
So put it on the line, Daniel. Give me your winner for this game. Who wins it?
90-81 Michigan.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, man, that's a pretty comfortable victory. They're able to pull it off, in my opinion. So
you might look up at one point in the game. We might be up 15, 20 points at one point in the game.
Yeah,
if it's going like it, I'm telling you, the way they defend Sam, and so their age and their ability to sustain dominance is mind-boggling to me, because most of the time you get a normal age college team, you get kids 18, 19, they'll play good for 4 or 5 minutes, but then it'll drop off for a minute or two, and they'll let a team back in the game. This team with them, with Yaks being 23, Namari being 23, the other guys being 20, 21 years old. This team, to be honest, this team might be older than, outside of Darvin Ham, this team might be older than my D-League team I played on when I first came out of college. So their ability to sustain their focus and sustain the level of dominance, man, these dudes are like, it's mind-boggling because and Duke has a younger team. They don't have a bunch of transfers. They still have a bunch of right age college kids that maybe even reclassed up to get to Duke early, right? So it's gonna be a little different test for them tomorrow, man. I think we have a significant advantage in that area as far as age, experience, toughness, and some like it's gonna be. I think we're gonna be the ones punching them on, like not like previous Duke matchups where we've gone in and everybody expect Duke to punch on us. No, I think we're gonna come out doing the punching tomorrow.
Well, yeah, we shall see, folks. It's gonna be a treat to be there. I'm gonna bring you full coverage from DC, right? Giving you pre and post game video and reaction and all of that from down at the game. Alejandro Zuniga and I will both be there covering it for the Michigan Insider. But listen, plenty of opportunity for you to still watch Michigan basketball in Ann Arbor. Are you looking to head out to a game? Maybe you're looking to head out to the Pistons. We'll get a couple words on the Pistons before we get out of here. If you're heading to see those teams, there is no better way than to link up with our friends at Golden Limo. Golden Limousine International takes care of the ride so you can focus on the win. So a lot of times with these games, now you want to go as a group, right? You want to go with 4 or 5 people. Maybe you want to get in a sprinter and have them take the whole fam or a whole group down, or even individual transport with you and your significant other or one other person. They can handle whatever level of transportation that you want to handle when it comes to going to these games. You don't have to worry about parking or getting out of the parking deck. You get that door-to-door service with our friends at Golden Limousine, any level of transportation, whether it's the sprinters, the party buses, the navigators and aviators. Again, they have all of those bases covered for you over at Golden Limo. You can see for yourself by going to goldenlimo.com and understand that when you ride on Golden, you are riding with the best, folks, riding with the absolute best with our friends at Golden Limousine. As I'm going to show you right now, for those who are watching us, the range of vehicles from the luxury motor coaches to sprinter buses to party buses. Golden Limo can get you there on time every time. Go to goldenlimo.com and book your transportation there now. Again, whether you're traveling anywhere in Southeast Michigan, anywhere in the country, or even abroad with their partners, they can take care of that transportation too. goldenlimo.com. But a couple words on the Pistons before we get out of here. Daniel, they go and they take care of the Knicks. I think their average margin of victory over the Knicks this year in the 3 games is 20 points.
Yeah, and so eventually we're going to have a conversation about Cade Cunningham being one of the top 3, 4, 5 players in the league. So y'all just let me know when y'all ready to have that conversation.
Conversation now.
Okay. I normally say stuff on here and people be like, "Oh man, Horton Tree." No, Cade Cunningham is soon to be. I won't say he's the face because I think they're going to make Wemby the face of the league. He's gonna probably be that guy, but Cade is right behind it as far as kids that can carry this league into the future and carry this league into the next generation of basketball. And he's special, and we've been seeing him do that down here since he was in high school. You know what I mean? So he's a special. He's always been special. He's always been a leader, always been the top dog. And no matter what situation you put him in, I remember they would question him in high school. He went to camp and dominated camp. It was the alpha dog. And same thing. So it's like, it's one of those things, man, like this kid has always been a winner. And I told you 2 years ago when 2-3 years ago, we had this conversation that the Pistons just needed time with the group of kids they had, the group of young guys they had. They're all growing. They're all growing into manhood now, and now the rest of the league has to deal with them. So I think Cade Cunningham, man, he's like if he's not one of the leading candidates for league MVP, he should be.
Yeah, last year you saw an Ascension in this game. Nobody could guard him one-on-one. That was the level that he ascended to. Like dominant in any one-on-one scenario,
Yep.
he's scoring. It was a little more, it was more inconsistent going against double team once they got in the playoffs because he started to navigate all the attention he was getting in the regular season. But the level of intensity ratchets up. And so they got in that Knicks series, and that was the thing that you had to see him adjust to, man. They had a great plan. They were physical with him. They didn't let him get downhill. He just wasn't finding space because they were running. He was getting double off the ball.
Yep.
So now what we see this year is he's facing that attention all the time. And the Knicks last night, what made it so eye-opening is they got their guys. Michigan was without Jalen Duren and without Beef Stew. You know you're going to have to do more. This dude came out and got 42.
Yep. 42-13. Yep.
It was like, hey, man, y'all ain't got nothing for me. Nothing. Like the Knicks, it's no hope for the Knicks. It's only the Celtics if they get Jason Tatum back and he's anywhere close to Jason Tatum. Because the next challenge for him is Jaylen Brown did a good job on him one-on-one. I don't think that would always be the case. I think they would have to really focus more attention on Cade and how would he handle that. But I'm feeling really good about it. My concern is past the Eastern Conference. Will so much of the burden being on him offensively, is that sustainable when it comes to the championship game? Maybe they can get there like that, but can they win it like that?
No, and that's where I think that's where they'll struggle if they come across a team like OKC or the Nuggets or one of these top teams in the West that has multiple, deep veteran teams, right? They'll find a way to make it really hard for Cade to really get going. That's where the roster building will have to continue for the Pistons, right? They're either gonna have to go draft another stud or go get a stud, probably more likely go get a stud in free agency if they have the cap space, right? To bring another guy in there that can kind of play Batman to Cade's Robin. Play Robin to Cade's Batman. So it's one of those things where I think they're going to have to continue to roster build, but as far as I think, to be honest, I don't think the Pistons brass thought that they would be number one seed in the East this fast, right? Even though I saw it, I knew they would be good. I think they would be number one seed good in the East, but for them to be this good this fast, I think it kind of accelerates the roster building process for the Pistons, the people in charge with the Pistons.
No, I think it does. I think they did, because at the end of the day, you said it right, Sam. Couldn't nobody guard this guy one-on-one, so they understood that they can't. So what do we do? What do we put in place for him to take this pressure off of him? And like you talk about consistently building this roster, they're doing a hell of a job of placing those people around him. But now all of a sudden, like you say, you just can't have that one guy. You need one more dude on there that can score, just in case he needs to take a break or two, or when people are really doubling down on him. They've done a great job. So I'm just saying kudos to the brass up at the Pistons, man. Good job.
I think the difference to me last night, if I could point out one thing, because it's not like they had somebody else on the other side that was taking a whole lot of pressure off. In that series last year against the Knicks, I would be interested in the number of threes he even attempted, let alone made. How many did he even attempt last year? He was not shooting threes in that series, especially. Last night, hey, you better be stepping on his toes.
Yeah.
Daniel, he was on one from distance last night. And so that to me is okay. If you can do that, they don't have any answer for you.
Nope.
But let me ask you this. But Daniel, let me ask you this though. For a guy that's shooting the threes, you feel comfortable shooting those threes. Why? Because you got people down low.
Mm-hmm.
You
might get another shot at it. But they didn't have Duren last night. Like to Sam's credit, they didn't. Like Sam said earlier, they didn't have him last night. But like you said, in the playoff game in the future, that does make you feel more confident. When I know if I can maybe. I'm gonna go at this guy one time. I got a couple guys on there. If I know if I bench it, they go clean it up, and we might get another chance at it. So that's all. That's always a part of the equation.
But even though you didn't have the guy that's supposed to be on the boards, but when you have everybody on the team that understands their role, And I think this is where a lot of teams get themselves in trouble. When you have too many Batmans, nothing gets done.
And you know why the Pistons won't have that issue? Because they have 5 guys from the same city, and 4 of them look up to the leader. No, I'm being serious. No, listen to me.
It makes sense. I get you.
They got 5 guys all from the same city. They
DFW, baby.
They understand who the alpha dog is because he's been the alpha dog.
DFW.
So there is no.
All right, I know Cade is from Dallas. I know Davis Jenkins is from down there. Who else you got?
Man, pull up the roster. They got 5 guys.
Okay, what other guys, man? Other guys.
DFW, baby. DFW Pistons.
You got Sasser.
Okay. Marcus Sasser.
Who the other 2 guys from Dallas, man? There's 2 other guys from DFW on the squad, but they all understand that Cade is he's always been the guy. He's the alpha dog. So you won't have Ron. I forgot where it is. Ron Holland straight from Duncanville. I don't know how I missed him. That's right up the street. But yeah, man, they have got and Ron Holland's another guy who's looked up to Cade. So it's like, man, these guys, they understand. They all, like Coach said, they all understand their roles and their position within that team and that franchise.
Yeah, you just see him getting comfortable in his own skin of being that alpha, not just as a player and commanding all attention, but hey, he was getting that JB last night, getting that JB Bickerstaff. Like, hey, man, I talk about Ron Holland in that playoff series against the Knicks last year when Ron was about to get with somebody. Hey, man, calm down, bro. Sit down over there. He actually physically pushed him and said, sit your ass down over there. We try to win this game. And so I like to see that in Cade. I just wonder, to your point in wrapping this up, I wonder if once they get there, to not have someone else, if Cade doesn't hit 40, is somebody else around hitting 20, getting 25. And it's not because of Cade. Like they can actually go get some off. See, Pistons don't have that guy routinely. Duncan Robinson occasionally. But will that be enough this year? I don't know. We'll see.
Is Dennis Lindsey still with the Pistons?
Is Dennis Lindsey?
Yeah, he's in the front office. He's one of the front office guys. They had a couple of front office guys from Dallas as well. I'm just trying to tell you, man, we gonna rename the Detroit Pistons. And this is for all my boys back at this. We're gonna call them the DFW Pistons as long as Cade is in charge. All right, deal.
Hey, smash the number. Say, what about Duncan and Caris? Got some Michigan flavor on that squad too.
Nah, for sure. If this was the late 2000 teens, we'd be having a different conversation. It's a new era, baby.
Well, hey, brother, we gonna miss you. It's been so real having you be a part of the show. You softened me on Brett Bielema a little bit. If he got his eye on my man Wheat, then he can't be all that bad. So I start cutting Brett Bielema a little bit of slack, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. No, I appreciate you, man. Like I said, this has been an incredible, deal, man, to get on here with you and Horde, man, get this thing going. And I just want to say to the Michigan fans, and not only just Michigan fans, there's been a lot of people on here from Ohio, from all over, man. I just want to say thank you all for accepting me into your homes and watching us, and I truly appreciate it. But I also want to leave folks with this, though. You never know what's going on in people's lives, man. Just check in on people, right? Just check in on folks, man, and just say hello. Squash the beef you got with some folks, man. Life is too short. And man, if nobody's told you they love you today, Wheat love you. Man, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you.
There we go. Enjoy the game this weekend, folks. Looks like Jordan on Facebook, he's heading to DC, and I'm heading down there too. It is going to be unbelievable, folks. Can't make it down there. Listen, it's still some home Michigan games left. Get out there, and the Big Ten tournament in Chicago. I might have to get Daniel Horton up there for that. It's going to be so live. It's going to be so live. I can't wait. I can't wait. But anyway, all right. My man Jay Lou. What's up, Jay Lou? Jeremy Lesueur, Mississippi Finest. Has Michigan had a player from Mississippi since Jay Lou?
Not one like him. That's my dog.
Yeah. What's up, Jay Lou? Anyway, we got to get out of here, folks. We'll see you next time on the next edition of Steady Droppin Dimes. You all take it easy.